Since we're breaking down 3 of the biggest dating apps out there, Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, we're going to give you the pros and cons of each app, as well as show you the ideal version that you should use so that you get best use of your time and money. All right, so let's kick things off by taking a look at Tinder. There's going to be 3 main cons. The first is the ratio. In the United States, Tinder's about 65% male, 35% female, which is not quite as bad as some people online claim, but still definitely not ideal. And this will vary city by city. Somewhere like San Francisco, which is a sausage fest, the ratio will be worse, or somewhere like Boston, where there's a lot of university, the ratio will be better. However, if you cross the pond and go to Europe, the ratio becomes 50-50. Even in England, the ratio is about 56% male, so it's a lot more balanced over there. Big con number 2 is going to be the average quality. So it tends to be that on Tinder, the girls are a little bit lower quality physically and also personality-wise. That doesn't mean there's not great girls on Tinder. I personally dated a girl who I met on Tinder about 5 years ago. It was a great relationship. She was a great girl. They do exist. You're just going to have to go through a little bit more volume to find those girls. Also, girls on Tinder tend to be a bit more flaky. For whatever reason, they just take Tinder a little bit less seriously than they do the other apps. And the last big con is going to be the fact that you really need to get the paid version in order to make it worth your while. Next, let's take a look at the 3 pros of Tinder. So first of all, it is by far the biggest dating app. You're going to get the most amount of volume on there, the most amount of matches. Also, in certain countries, it is literally your only options because they don't have Bumble or Hinge or pretty much any other dating app. In other countries like Latin America or Europe or Southeast Asia, they might have other options, but Tinder's going to be by far the one that's most used. So it's going to be literally the best option that you can have in certain countries across the world. Number 2 is going to be the fact that Tinder has the most amount of DTF girls. It just kind of has this hookup reputation. Not every girl on Tinder is trying to fuck, but a lot of them are. So if you're looking to have casual sex, Tinder might actually be your best bet. And number 3 is the fact that Tinder allows you to have shirtless photos, which certain apps like Bumble, for example, generally don't allow. Now that you know the pros and cons, let's take a look at which version of Tinder you need. I would only recommend Tinder Gold or Tinder Platinum. And really the only difference between those two is that Tinder Platinum allows you to send a message with your opener, which will definitely increase the amount of girls that you match with. And it's only a $5 difference. So Tinder Gold costs about $30 a month, and that will vary based on where you live and your demographic. And Tinder Platinum will be $35 to $40 a month. Either one of those is going to be a good option. All right, next up, let's take a look at Bumble, which also has 3 big cons. First of all, it's probably the easiest app to get banned from. Now, Tinder and Hinge are also really bad, but it seems that Bumble is the worst offender. All it takes is one girl to complain about you, and bam, you're gone. It's supposed to be female friendly and all that crap, but honestly, what that means is that pretty much everyone is getting banned. Also, it seems that Bumble AI algorithm will just randomly remove photos that it doesn't like, especially shirtless ones, which means that you can't really screen for DTF girls on Bumble like you can on Tinder and Hinge. Big downside number 2 is going to be the fact that girl has to message you first. Some people see this as a pro, but I see it as a con because women hate taking initiative, so less than half the girls you match will actually message you first, and to top it off, they only have 24 hours to message you, so therefore if they don't, the match disappears completely. So there's going to be a lot of missed opportunities on there. And big downside number 3 is going to be the fact that it's not commonly used in a lot of countries. I remember when I was in Budapest, I was getting like 1 match a day on Bumble versus 10 to 15 a day on Tinder. So in a lot of places outside the US, it's not really popular. Next, let's take a look at Bumble's pros, and there's going to be 3. So first of all, it allegedly has the best ratio, and this will heavily vary based on what source you're reading. I've seen some sources say it's 59% female, which I think is BS. Other sources say it's 70% male. The real number is probably somewhere in the middle, but just intuitively going off my own experience, it feels like there's a better ratio on Bumble than there is on Tinder, probably more similar to Hinge. Big upside number 2 is going to be the fact that the average quality on Bumble is probably going to be the highest. It's going to be kind of tied with Hinge, and that means the girls are going to be on average hotter and also better relationship material, or just girls that you want to spend time with. It just seems like girls take Bumble a bit more seriously, and that's going to attract a little bit of a different crowd, but not always. And big upside number 3 is going to be the fact that Bumble has this thing called the BFF Feature. Why does that matter? Well, it means that all the girls who are looking for just friends are not going to be matching with you, right? And if a girl says, oh, I'm just looking for friends, you can be like, the hell are you doing in the dating section? Now that you know the pros and cons, which version of Bumble should you get? And there's definitely a clear winner here. You should 100% get Bumble Premium. It actually has some cool features I haven't seen on other dating apps. So chiefly, it has advanced filters, which allows you to filter a girl based on her height education level, or what she's looking for. The only thing you can't do is body type, but other than that, you can really narrow down your matches so you're not wasting your time on girls who are looking for different things. Number 2 is going to be the fact that you can extend the time a girl has to message you, right? And also, if the match falls apart, you can actually reconnect with that match. So basically, you get to undo all the weird crap that Bumble does with the free version. And number 3 is you get to see all the girls who swipe right on you. So instead of spending each day swiping, hoping to get a match, you can just go through your Bumble deck, see the girls that like you, find the ones that you find attractive, match with them, and bam, you've saved even more time. And last up, let's take a look at Hinge, which also has about 2 to 3 cons. So first of all, it's going to be the smallest user base, sitting at about 23 million monthly users. Compare that to Tinder, which is 57 million, or Bumble, which is 40 million. So therefore, that means that you'll probably be getting the least amount of volume coming in. Although I've seen plenty of exceptions of guys who actually get more matches on Hinge than they do on Bumble. But generally, both of those will do less than Tinder. Also, it's going to be available in the least amount of countries. Essentially, outside of Canada, United States, Hinge is useless. And the last one can be pro or con, depending on who you are. Hinge tends to skew on the younger side. So that means if you're a guy in your mid-40s, you're not going to have many people in your demographic. However, if you're a guy who's in your early 20s, that's actually going to be an advantage because there's going to be a lot more girls for you to match with. Next up, let's take a look at the 3 big pros that come with Hinge. So first of all, it's going to be quality. The average quality on Hinge will be higher than Tinder and probably comparable to Bumble. For some, one is better, for some, the other. But there will be less matches to kind of counterbalance that. The second big pro is the fact you get to send a message with your opener, right? Which is something that Tinder charges you $40 a month to do, and it will also increase the amount of matches you will get. And the last up is that Hinge is probably the only one of these apps that can actually be legitimately used for free. Now that you know the pros and cons, which version of Hinge should you get? As I mentioned earlier, Hinge is one of the very few apps where you can actually get away with using the free version and get results. However, if you're looking to level up, I would get Hinge Plus or Hinge X. So the big advantage with Hinge Plus, you get unlimited swipes instead of 10 that you get with the free version, and you get to see all the girls who like you. With Hinge X, I think the best feature about that is basically you have a continuous boost because you're always skipping the line when girls are swiping, which I don't know how well that works, but it seems to be a pretty big advantage. All right, so you guys might be thinking, well, Alex, which one of these apps should I get? And my answer is get all of them. It's best to diversify. However, if you're really strapped on cash and you have to pick one, it just comes down to what you're looking for. Hookups, get Tinder. Something more serious, get Bumble or Hinge. And now that you guys know which apps to use, check out our free Tinder guide. Link in description as well. It shows you how to get good photos, good bio, how to text girls, and pretty much everything else. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.